both my kids went to high school, to being a public high school, the teachers seem to know that if you're coming from the Maples, um, you're going to be a good student generally, and have a good work ethic.
I'm Glenn Herbert, and I'm an editor with Our Kids. We're speaking with insiders from Canada's leading private schools to gain insights into their programs, culture, traditions, and leadership. This includes insights from parents, alumni, and administrators. This is the Our Kids Insider Perspective.
Sure. Yeah, we decided to choose the Maples after both of our kids were at public school. My daughter was in grade 6 and my son was in grade 2. And it just wasn't a good learning environment for them. There was a lot of conflicts going on in the classroom, and the way they were being managed, it didn't look like it was going to improve over time. And it wasn't a good learning environment. So we researched a bunch of other schools, and we hadn't really considered a private school before. We were worried it would have some of the stigmas that you think about when you think of private school, and we weren't sure that was in line with what we wanted to teach our kids. But it was really the best decision we ever made. There was none of those stigmas there. It's a great school. I really can't say anything bad about it. It was the best decision we made for our kids, both of them. Yeah, my son was the primary reason that we switched schools. There was a lot of behavioral issues going on with other students in his classroom that was causing him a lot of anxiety. And for a kid that's in grade 2, that's kind of disturbing to see. And as soon as we went to the Maples, I was kind of shocked because I was preparing for it to be a really big transition. I was expecting, difficult times. And honestly, the kids, they tried it for a day, I think maybe 2, and they never wanted to go back to their other school. And it was amazing to see how quickly my son's anxiety went away. And he, day after day, week after week, he turned back into the kid that we used to know, who was confident and, not worrying about stuff, enjoying his classmates, really, positive changes. You could see them happening all the time. My daughter, which we switched her as well, she was in a class where she did well. She was very good at working independently, kind of the B student. And because of that, she kind of got ignored in public school because she didn't really need a lot of help. She could work independently on her own, and that's really what she did. But then when she went to the Maples, she really came out of her shell. She gained a lot of confidence. She became an A student. She really kind of excelled in lots of ways, and that's really carried on all through high school and now going into university. The programs that she's been accepted into, when she was in elementary school at the public school, she was like, I'm not a math kid. I think I'm a English student. And now she's going into science, excels at math. You wouldn't, I don't think that she would have the same path that she's on now if she had stayed where she was. Oh gosh.
I think they would both probably mention a few of the teachers, maybe one or two that they both would have in common that really stood out, that really made the experience. I think with Abby, it was that teacher that really helped her kind of get math and enjoy math and excel at it. And I think with Hayden, the same teacher just made school so fun, but also a learning place at the same time. So I think they would probably talk about the teachers, but also I think the the environment and the friends that they've made there.
Yeah, and the lessons that they taught in the Maples, like the positive things that we were trying to teach at home, were definitely reinforced at school every day through many of the teachers. They're great role models.
I think they were pretty receptive and open to kind of chat whenever we wanted to. I don't think it was they didn't want parents to be hands off. They wanted us to be engaged and open to conversation. And anytime we had questions, they were receptive. We could always get time with the teacher or the principal, any of them.
The portable wasn't great, but if that's the worst thing, then
having a high school would have been great.
Yeah, a high school option would have been really good in our community.
Yeah. But otherwise, I think it was a great experience all around. I don't think so.
No, not really. No.
I think we had a pretty good view of what we were getting into, and it's a pretty open place, and the people we spoke to there were, let us know kind of how things worked, and I think it was fairly true to that.
Definitely, yeah. I think a sense of community is really important. You really feel like you are part of something there and that you belong. They make every student and parent feel like they matter and they fit in and they have a place there and they're important. Also, I think their academic standard is very high. They have a good reputation in the community. I know when both my kids went to high school, that's being a public high school, the teachers seem to know that if you're coming from the Maples, you're going to be a good student generally, and have a good work ethic. That was something that I think was really important about the Maples, is they prepared the kids well for high school, and work ethic was important, and how you conduct yourself personally was really important too.
I think they also focus on, I don't know if it's courage or confidence, but just through in-class experience, but then things like public speaking, they do the speeches every year, which, you can see, having seen it multiple years, you can see kids develop and get more of that confidence. And then when they go elsewhere, you can see that that's not common. And I think with even like the big science projects that they have to do, I think all of that teaches them confidence and kind of courage as they move forward.
Yeah, I think it encourages them to take some risks and not be afraid to push themselves out of their comfort zone a little bit. And I think that definitely pays off, once they go to university, when, they really need to push themselves to take some risks and get out of their comfort zone and to try something new, because that's when you'll really learn.
I think that ties between parents was that parents are all very engaged with their kids and with their kids' education. So they want their kids to do well. They're invested in their kids. They probably chat. Every one of them probably chat about school when they get home. So I think the family is all quite engaged that way. But otherwise, I don't think there's a typical family. There's kind of all walks of life that go to the school, which is great. I think that's a good thing about the Maples.
Absolutely.
But there is that commonality that, the parents are interested and engaged.
Totally. I agree with that 100%. The parents, like this education, their kids, development is a priority for them, and that really shows.
I think with Abby, it would be, maybe it's not a single thing, but it is that kind of overcoming this, I'm not a math kid, or I'm not good at math, and which I think her teacher at the time, that was kind of a hot button sentence for him. So if he heard that was, he will not stand for that. And he felt that everybody could be a math kid, and you could really take this on regardless of, your history with it. I think she'd be super proud about how she's kind of turned that around.
Yeah, I think also too, our kids are a little more quiet, they're a little more introverted, and I think it gave them the opportunity to see that they can still excel and do well, and you don't have to be the loudest kid in the classroom to achieve or to show what you're capable of. And when my daughter did her first public speech, I remember the teacher saying, "Oh my God, she can talk, like she did a great job at a speech." And I don't think anyone ever expected that from her, but she was given the opportunity to show that, yeah, she has a voice and she could do it. And I think for my son too, some science projects, he really was interested in that, and he had the chance to really explore it. And some of the things he came up with, he was really, really proud of.
I thought that was really good. I mean,
Yeah.
we had the benefit of the principal was also our kids' teachers for 1 or 2 years,
Yeah.
which was great. I think he does a great job at both of those roles, and he's extremely caring, open.
Mhm.
We could meet with him whenever. He was always very responsive, and I think that was true with other teachers as well.
Yeah.
That we had quite a good bond with. They were open. They were also honest, so they wouldn't kind of sugarcoat everything,
Yeah.
which I think you want because parents always see the kind of the best side of things. So they were honest, gave their opinions, and but were always open to chatting. Um, I think education quality would be first and foremost, and I think that's what people are really looking for.
Mhm.
Kind of the other skills, the soft skills that they'll get from around that education. So like the public speaking, presentation skills from their science projects, teamwork, and then community, the environment would be the other thing. It's a nice environment. Part of that's the size of the place. Part of it's just the students and the staff that's there. But it's a nice place to go every day.
Yeah, and I think part of that being a small school too is you have to learn how to get along and accept everybody. And I think that adds to the sense of community, and you learn to appreciate each other's differences and not ostracize anybody for them. And I think the teachers, it's a small enough class that they can give the attention to the social side of school as well, which I think is a huge part of it that sometimes gets missed at public school.
I think it probably for us it would have been to consider it sooner.
Yeah, I
Um,
think to have maybe kept an open mind and not put so much weight on the stereotypes that we were worried about, like worried that our kids might feel entitled or
yeah,
better than other people. That's just not the case at the Maples. It's a very down to earth school. It's just the same as public school to me, only with, I don't know, better attention, more focus on the kids.
mhm.
Um, I think, yeah, just keeping more of an open mind and not having a stigma
Yeah.
about what private school is.
I mean, on the good side of things, it was going to public school first allowed us to see how good it was,
Yeah,
as opposed to, I think if you go straight into that, you may not know how good you have it because you'll
absolutely.
always reference back to maybe your own experience. But, so it did allow us to see that, but having them in there sooner probably would have been the one thing that we could change or would change.
Yeah.
For more information about this school, you can visit their profile at ourkids.net.